Lecturers and support staff at Queen's University Belfast and Ulster University are taking part in 14 days of industrial action, the second wave of strikes since the end of 2019. They have been given a boost of support from the National Union of Students. The University and College Union said that the NUS support sends a clear message to universities that, instead of focusing on silly games and spinning in the run-up to the walkouts, they should have been working with us to try and sort things out. The UCU added that the various disputes, involving a total of 74 universities, centre on the sustainability of the university's superannuation scheme and rising costs for members, and on universities' failure to make significant improvements on pay, equality, casualisation and workloads. The union also said that Universities UK has declared it was not going to make a new offer, and that the Universities and Colleges Employers Association would still not talk to the union about the crucial pay element of the dispute. I spoke with Shaneen Hughes, an English student from the Coleraine campus of University of Ulster, who is heavily in support of the strikes, to find out exactly what she thought.
I was aware of the strikes anyway and was very supportive of them, but only really learned full detail behind the strikes when we had our kind of standard meeting between the course reps and the staff. One of our lecturers, who is a union member, took the time to actually share some information about why union members are striking, and it really struck a chord with all of us. Particularly, I can only speak obviously for course reps of English across first, second and third year in Coleraine, but we came away from that meeting and we had a group chat that evening, and we just decided that we had to be vocal about it. We had to speak up on behalf of not only the staff and union members, but also the students. There was really very minimal, I would consider minimal communication from the university regarding the strikes. Really just kind of a blanket email that says, upcoming strike action, we're making preparations to protect the students, your studies, etc. But there's no real detail in how that's actually implemented, how that preparation is manifested, how that support, what shape that takes for students. And it also leaves the question open, why did they not take any action to prevent it when this is now known amongst students? They had months to prevent the strike action and they did absolutely nothing. It's disgusting, to be quite honest. So that seemed just like too little too late. There's a real perception I've noticed about almost as though it's the striking staff versus us, and they're punishing us, they're robbing us of our money, we're losing tuition fees for every lecture and seminar that we don't have. I mean, that's true. We are obviously impacted financially as well as academically, but that's not down to the staff, that's down to the root of the problem, and the root of the problem comes down to the university. And the fact that it was down to striking union members to communicate to us what was actually going on, and that wasn't done in any kind of, that wasn't a plea for our assistance or anything. It was done in a very factual, very informative way, in the capacity of, look, this is affecting us, but it's also affecting you guys too, so this is what's going on. And I feel personally that the university should be taking a little bit more responsibility for that, certainly in absence of any action on their part to avoid the strike action in the first place.
So what you're saying is basically that this sort of blanket email, the university is almost trying to make it out that it was quite a sudden thing that was happening, but really you think that they had the means to prevent it a long time ago?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, absolutely. I mean, this has been a well-documented issue across, it's ongoing now for years. Students who are currently in third year have been impacted by this, not only this semester and last semester, but also in this first year. It seems to be students in every other year group get impacted by strike action more than the others. So, I mean, this is not something that is new. I'm very hopeful. I'm aware that the last round of strike action was at least successful in bringing the university's negotiating group to the table to at least listen. I know it didn't go any further than that at that point, but I also understand that that's why the strike action is occurring again, just to try and give them another boost, just to get over that finish line and have them not only listen, but explain exactly what they're willing to do. At the same time, I can't help but feel a little bit cynical. Nobody wants the strike action to go on for the full duration. Nobody wants that, certainly not union members and certainly not students. But that again is down to the university.
However, not everyone shares Shanine's support exactly to the same extent. I also spoke with Ben Sharkey, a final year journalism student also at the Coleraine campus. He expressed his worries not only because of the studies being affected by the strikes, but the domino knock-on effect that it has on the rest of the university.
I've teetered and tottered between different views. I think the first time I didn't really know what to think, but now we're having them so soon after. I would say I'm against them this time. Not even just from the student perspective of losing out on my learning and knowing that other people around me are losing out. I'm a third year, so that is something I'm conscious of. But we're also our commercial services, which have struggled in recent years, but we're sort of getting on the up and up at Ulster University, particularly the SU Bar in Coleraine, where I work. The strikes cut the daily takings in half, and this was set to be a good year for the bar, but 2 strikes in the 1 year is just obliterated any chance that this could have been a really, really back on track year, you know. And I think something that's not only hurting the student body but also their facilities, like the commercial services, which I personally hold really dear, and I know a lot of other students do. I can't support that, really. I really can't. Yeah, and to clarify my earlier statement, I don't necessarily blame the staff. I think they're completely right in going for the strikes. I think if I was having those sort of losses, I would as well. But that doesn't mean I should support it, and I don't think that's why I don't think our students' union should necessarily have supported it. But I completely understand that. But just like lecturers aren't obliged to tell us if they're going to be in, which causes more chaos of the students, which obviously helps the strike, I don't think that we should necessarily have to support them through that. I think there is obviously stuff at the top that needs to be changed, and I'm sure there's a lot of. I don't believe the university rhetoric with the higher ups that there isn't the money to help with the pensions and all that, because I think a lot of money's getting spent on a lot of things, particularly some very, very big salaries for vice chancellors. Not to name any names, but I think there is money somewhere. I think they haven't tried to find it because it's stopping them getting their nice things and maybe building fancy new blocks and all that may not be necessary. What I'm saying is I don't think that it should just be a shout at the lecturers thing. Definitely not, to clarify my statement.
Do you think that it will? I know it's suggested that the strikes will last 14 days. Do you think it will last that long? Do you think that the staff from both universities will get what they're hoping for by the end of it?
I think it will last that long, and I don't really know if they'll get anything that they want. If I was being pessimistic, which sometimes I'm prone to, I'd say there's probably more strikes down the line. But that's just from the lack of proper movement from the last strike is all I'm basing that upon. And I think it'll be a sad truth that I'd say there will probably be some lecturers who might not be able to last the full 14 days of the strikes, in that they need money and they might have to, even though they are convicted and they have a strong conviction towards the strikes, they may have to cut off early, which obviously that's a horrible thing as well. It's 2 pressures fighting out for control.
Only time will tell how the university strikes will pan out. It's fair to say, though, that views are divided on the matter. I'm Niamh Campbell for Blast 106.